Hey there, welcome back to the channel. So in this video, I'm going to talk about two things that you can expect after leaving a narcissistic relationship and how that can affect you when you're now fighting this person in court. So I'll get straight to it. All right, first thing, we're going to talk about shame and we're going to talk about memory loss. Shame and memory loss and how that can affect you when you find yourself in a battle against a narcissist in family court. First, let me talk about shame. So, this is something that I've started to learn more about, even myself, about how paralyzing shame can be. And you may be feeling shame because you made a decision to get into a relationship with this person and then they treated you bad. And what makes it worse is if you also had trauma prior to getting into a relationship with a narcissist, and now the mistreatment that they did to you compounded on how you are already feeling about yourself. So after leaving the narcissist, you may be feeling like you're bad, you're defective, you're dirty, you're stupid, you're unworthy, you're unlovable because of the mistreatment. And especially, like I said before, if you experience that from many different people prior to the narcissist, but the narcissist can make it worse. And so as a result, when you leave that relationship, now you're carrying around this shame. And you may not be able to name it as shame. You may not be able to recognize it as shame, but maybe you do certain things such as you're not able to look yourself in the mirror, or when you look yourself in the mirror, you feel disgusted, you feel dirty, or when you talk to people, you look down, you avoid eye contact, or you become a perfectionist, thinking that everything has to be perfect in order for you to be lovable. And it can be very detrimental to your mental health and detrimental to your case. Why? How? Actually, how would be the proper question. It can be detrimental to your case because it's difficult for you to show with confidence. It's difficult for you to put in the effort to represent yourself well because deep down you feel defective. Deep down you don't feel like you can do it. And so that's how shame can affect you when you're representing yourself in family court against narcissists. Another effect that you may have from in a narcissistic relationship is memory loss. Now, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a doctor, so I can't tell you from a scientific perspective as to why and what happens to the brain and all that. But I know enough. I've done family law for some time now. I know enough to be able to say that that is something that I see a lot of people suffer from when it comes to leaving a narcissistic relationship. And how can that affect your case? Well, it can affect your case because you may be on the stand during testimony and you're being cross examined by the narcissist or the narcissist lawyer, and you have a hard time recalling certain things. And they may try to paint you as a liar because you can't remember, when in fact you're not a liar, you just have a hard time remembering things because of the narcissistic abuse that you've endured, and that's just an effect, one of the effects from you in that relationship. And so, well, what can you do to help this, right? Because it's one thing to point it out, but it's another thing to say, okay, well, this may be what I'm experiencing, but what do I do now? Well, first, when we talk about the shame, what I've learned is that you have to show yourself more compassion, and you have to be intentional about showing yourself compassion. So I would encourage you to do some research and pray or talk to someone, a trusted friend, and find out how can you show yourself more compassion during this process to help you build up your confidence. The second thing I want to talk about as far as it relates to the memory loss, you're gonna have to document everything, right? So get yourself a trial binder, or if you want to do it electronically, that's fine too. But it's okay. Like, don't beat yourself up for not being able to recall certain things as quickly as you would like to. There's this rule in evidence called the refresh and recollection rule. And so I would encourage you to research that, to read about that. And so how I've used it in the past with some of my clients, when they couldn't recall certain things, they couldn't remember, I would ask them the question. For example, I would say, let's say the question was, when did John tell you that he was no longer going to pick up the children? And maybe my client doesn't remember the time. And she may say, well, I don't remember. And then I would ask the next question, was there anything that would refresh your recollection? And she may say, well, yeah, actually, if I saw the email that John sent to me saying that he wouldn't pick up the child, then that would refresh my recollection. And then it's a process that I have to go through to refresh my client's recollection on the stand. I share all that to say that don't worry if you feel like you can't remember everything or you feel like you have to have it all in your head. No, there's a rule called refreshing recollection. So I would encourage you to look that up. So with that being said, I'm gonna wrap this video up. Hopefully it was a very informative video. Hopefully you got some value out of it. Hopefully you now feel that much more capable of representing yourself against that narcissist in court. And until next time, remember, you're not in this journey alone. Let me hold your hand and walk with you. And if you have not subscribed to the channel, make sure you do so. Also, send this video, I was going to say send this message, same thing. Send this video to someone that you know would benefit from seeing this video. Until next time, be blessed and stay blessed on purpose. Take care.